if you were to consistently increase your income 15% every single year, your income stream and your net worth would look like Warren Buffett's. It would get up into the $1 billion level by the end of your lifetime. Good morning, everybody. Zander, CEO and founder of High Impact Coaching here. And today I want to teach you a little bit of a secret around what it takes to be successful. First of all, before I actually dig into anything on this live, I want everybody to go ahead and take 30 seconds. I want you to just take 30 seconds and go Google Warren Buffett net worth over time. Google Warren Buffett net worth over time. And there's going to be a reason that I want you to Google this, because it exactly pertains to where you're at in your business. And a very important rule that I call consistency compounding. Consistency compounding. So the reason that I want to talk about consistency compounding, if you Google Warren Buffett net worth over time, you will see that Warren Buffett's net worth basically was not important. It was not crazy by any means, all the way up until about 15 years ago, right? So his net worth over time looks like a hockey stick. It's pretty much flat. Then all of a sudden, over the last 10, 15 years, it absolutely takes off through the roof, right? So 15 years or so, Warren Buffett's income takes off through the roof, right? But if you look at it, it can teach you a really important lesson. And this is something that I think everybody in the entrepreneurial space needs to understand and needs to do better at. So Warren Buffett has one rule. And that rule that he calls it is never lose money. Never lose money. Basically, when he's investing in companies, when he's investing in stocks, when he's investing in bonds, whatever he's investing in, he has one rule. He calls it rule number one: never lose money, right? And because of this, what he understands to be one of the most powerful laws in the world is compound interest, the law of compound interest, and essentially how that allowed him to go from virtually no money growing up to being one of the richest people in the world at one point, the richest man in the world, right? And if you look at Warren Buffett net worth over time, you can see why. Because if he never loses money and he slightly grows, so Warren Buffett's rule is I never want to lose money, and I want to make sure that each year I increase my net worth 15%. That's not a ton, right? That's not a ton. You know, we're in the world where we're always talking about, like, I want to double my net worth every single year. I want to double my income every single year. Like, that's batshit crazy. If you were to consistently increase your income 15% every single year, your income stream and your net worth would look like Warren Buffett's. It would get up into the $1 billion level by the end of your lifetime, right? That's something that I want you to understand. Consistency, right? Now, what happens for most people, what happens for most people is they go try and double their net worth. They go try and go crazy, get to $1 billion right away, whatever it is. And because of that, they go up, then they go down. They go up, then they go down. Because of that, over the long term, they end up stagnating somewhere right in the middle. But if you consistently did better every single year for your entire life, your business would absolutely take off. Now, why is this important for you to understand as an entrepreneur? Because sometimes as an entrepreneur, when you're getting your business up and running, you're putting a lot of work in up front and you're not seeing the results, right? If your result is hitting the 6-figure mark, or it's hitting the multiple 6-figure, 7-figure mark, it doesn't happen like this. Your business doesn't just grow on a perfectly straight line, right? It's a hockey stick. You have to put a ton of work in, and you don't see any results. Then all of a sudden it goes boom, and it starts to take off. So I want you to think about an IceCube. Say you were in a room that was 20 degrees Fahrenheit, for all of you Celsius people out there, maybe like negative 5 degrees Celsius, right? So 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the point that ice freezes is 32 degrees, right? Now, You can do everything in your power to heat if your goal is to melt this piece of ice, you could do everything in your power to heat this room up from 20 degrees to 21 degrees, to 22 degrees, to 23 degrees, 24, 25. By the time you hit 25 degrees, you've probably done a bunch of work. Maybe you started a fire. Maybe you're running around in circles. You're doing push-ups, right? Maybe whatever you're doing to try and heat up this room to get this piece of ice to melt. It's at 25 degrees. Is it melting? No, it's still not melting. It's still just sitting there. Zero results. Zero results. Now, does that mean that you haven't put in any work? Does that mean that you haven't made any progress? Absolutely not. You have made progress. You've raised the room temperature from 20 to 25 degrees. You're halfway there, but you still see no results. So you keep putting in work. You put more fire. You put more wood on the fire. You keep running around the room to try and get your body temperature to heat up. Whatever you're trying to do to get this room to heat up. And by the time, then you get to 27, 28, 29, 30 degrees. You've increased the room by 10 degrees Fahrenheit, but the ice cube still does not melt. And here's the kicker. This is where most people give up. This is where most entrepreneurs give up. They've put in the work. They've gotten the room to heat up 10 degrees. They've made tons of progress, but because they're not seeing the result on the other side, they give up. But the successful entrepreneurs keep going because they know, deep down, they know it's just a matter of time. So they keep the wood stoked, they keep it going, they keep running around the room until the room starts to heat up a little bit more, 31 degrees, 32 degrees, 33 degrees. And all of a sudden, that ice cube starts to melt. Immediately, as soon as we get above 32 degrees, the ice cube starts to melt. And the momentum from the fire and you running around, the room keeps heating up. 33 degrees, 34, 35, 36. The ice cube's melting faster and faster and faster until it's completely gone. You've accomplished your goal, right? And the room keeps heating up because you put in the work to get to that point. The reason I want everybody to understand this is because right now you might be in one of those stages in your business. Your business does not scale, completely linearly. It scales in steps and it scales in hockey sticks and ladders, right? You might be in one of those stages where you're putting in all this work, but you're not seeing the result. You're putting in all this work into your business, but you're not seeing the result. And I need you to understand, just because you're not seeing the result does not mean that you're not making progress. See, the problem with entrepreneurship, especially in this world, right, is right now there's two issues, right? Living in a world of the online information age and social media, right? Number one, getting into entrepreneurship has never been easier. Getting into entrepreneurship has never been easier. It's so fucking easy right now to get into online entrepreneurship. But because of that, a lot of people quit whenever the going gets a little bit too tough, right? Entrepreneurship is hard. Let that sink in. It is hard. And if you ever expect it to be easy, that's going to be the reason that you fail. If you are not willing to do the work, if you are not willing to get out of your comfort zone, and I'm not saying you got to Gary V yourself to death, like work like 80, 90 hours a week, but you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to do the shit that scares you. You have to pay your dues. You have to put the investments in. You have to put in your time, your effort to learn, to get better. Get out there and fail. Fuck some stuff up. If you're not willing to do that, you're never going to succeed. And one of the big reasons that a lot of people aren't willing to do that is because they go on social media and they see all these other entrepreneurs in their space and they compare their behind the scenes to their highlight reel. You're comparing what you see of your behind the scenes work to that person's highlight reel, right? You see yourself putting in all this work to get that ice cube from 20 degrees to 30 degrees and nothing's happening. But all you see when you look over at this other entrepreneur is, you're just starting to see them now and their room's at 40 degrees and everything's melting and everything's, they're accomplishing all their goals, right? It's so entertaining to me because the truth is, if you stopped focusing on everybody else and just kept focusing on your own progress, you would get there. You would get there, but it's not going to be overnight, and it's going to take work, and you have to put in the time, you have to put in the effort. In the world of online social media, right? We compare ourselves to everybody else. You know, I do love telling my story. I do love telling my story about how, you know, I quit Cisco with no network, no online entrepreneurial experience, you know, no money. I put myself into $20,000 worth of credit card debt, frankly, right? But within 3 months, I was able to build a 6-figure coaching business. And within 12 months, we got to our first 6 figures a month, right? And that seems like an overnight story, right? A rags to riches sort of story. But the truth is, I had put so much work into my own personal development as a leader, as a coach for years, for probably a decade prior to that, that it's no wonder that I was able to turn up a business so quickly, right? I spent 5 years in Air Force ROTC developing skill sets as a leader, as a coach, frankly, even though I wasn't a coach, as a leader, as an entrepreneur with determination, the ability to, you know, to push past my fears, to push past all the things, all the limits that everybody else thought was impossible, right? I spent years at Cisco developing my ability to sell and my ability to communicate persuasively to others and influence others in terms of taking action and moving forward and making amazing shit happen. I had spent years developing my skill sets, right? So it's no wonder that when I first started my business, even though I didn't have any experience as an entrepreneur, even though I had no network, no email list, or no money, I had spent a decade working on my skill set as a person, my mindset as an entrepreneur, and my ability to coach and lead others. So it's no wonder that I was able to get my business up and running. So the truth is, if you're going through a point in your business right now where you're not necessarily at the point where you want to be, and you're comparing yourselves to other people, all you need to do is you need to ask yourself, number one, am I showing up at 100% every day? Because that's the only point of success that you should be able to judge yourself by. Am I showing up at 100% every single day? Because if I'm showing up at 100%, then I can't ask anything more. But if I show up 70%, thinking that I'm going to make it up tomorrow by showing up 130% tomorrow, well, you can't show up 130% tomorrow. You can only show up 100%. So if you show up 70% today and you show up 100% tomorrow, today's 30% that you missed is forever left on the table, right? So that's number one. And then number two, really the truth is, look at yourself, take a deep look. Maybe you are making progress, you just haven't seen the result yet. And you need to be open to that idea. Maybe you've raised the room temperature of the room from 20 degrees to 25, but you've still got a lot of work to do. Maybe you've raised it from 20 to 30 and you're almost there. You just got to keep pushing. The truth is, a lot of the times we make progress in our business, but we don't see the result until it's almost too late. All right. So I want you guys to remember, results and progress are not always the same thing. All right. This is crucial. So remember that. All right. I love you guys. Keep after it, and we'll keep checking in. All right.